Good evening. Good evening. Thank you very much for joining me, everyone. um, well, it had to be done, didn't it? I have got some pretty chic stuff here for you today. So this was the brand new collection from Crafts 2 that have brought us this, which is the Pretty Chic collection. It's to start off with, and I know that John said that if it's popular, they would look to doing some more. Well, hello, Mr. Lockwood. This is popular. If you did see it on the TV, it was actually already sold out by the end of the first day, I think, with it just into the second show, which was amazing. But luckily, I have managed to get some stuff, so I'm going to show you all about it. I have to say, what is there tonight is there, and then it's gone. I'm afraid there is no more. So without further ado, I've got all of it on here, but I'm going to show you it individually, but I think that the plastic will shine back, so bear with me a minute. So we have got to start off with the Pretty Chic card, which cuts out a card which is about 5 3/4, I think, something like that, or maybe 5 inch. I don't know. Do we know? Does it even say? Do we even have an? No, we don't. Okay, it's lovely. So it cuts out and scores here, but we've also got this sort of separate edge and then this very pretty edge. Now, hopefully I will get a chance to show you that as well, but I'm not going to concentrate on this one just at the moment. But it's really pretty. And again, lots of samples that have been made using just this little piece, the whole lot, making it into wedding invitations. Very pretty like that. So that's lovely. And that's called the Chic card. Okay. Then we have got the Chic square. Now this is along the lines of things that we've done before, except that you've had to cut out all these little squares. And this time you don't have to do such a thing. So it's one die with all of these elements put into it. I will show you it in a second. You've got some leaves, some large ones and some small ones, really pretty. And the whole idea about these sets are that they are done in such a way that you hardly need to add anything to it in order to make your little masterpieces. So this one is Chic square. Then we've got Chic circle, which is a very similar concept in terms of the 3 rings, but you've already got, without having to do anything else, your flowers here and your leaves all into position. And I'm going to show you, my card's going to be using that one. It's also going to be using this one, which is the Chic flowers. You've got 4 sets of flowers, so lots of tiny ones, cutting out 3 at a time, various different shapes and sizes. You have got some more foliage as well, that's Chic flowers. And finally, you've got Chic tags, which is ideal to put a sentiment on. So I'm going to be using those 3 with my card today. Okay, so they are available individually, but they're also available as a group of the collection of the whole lot. So depending on what you might like. And you may also notice on the website, if you go over to the Facebook Live section, or indeed the cardstock, is that I've uploaded all of the essential card that's available as well. Something I hadn't done for quite some time. So I do apologise. Lots of people had been asking about that. And it's time we put it on there. So you can have any of the 12 colours. There are combinations. They aren't available individually. There are as a group sort of thing. But if anyone wanted a particular collection put together, I'm happy to do that if you private message me. Okay, so let's bring in these dies that are already cut. So here we are. These are not dies already cut, already opened, I should have said. Oh dear, oh dear. I've just come back from the wedding. I've rushed back here to be with you today because if you are regular followers, you'll know that I went to a wedding of my great nephew, actually he is, yesterday, and his beautiful wife, Elle. We had a lovely day, but it's all a bit manic, isn't it? doing all that sort of thing and then rushing back. But I didn't want you to miss out on these lovelies. So let's take these. So I'm going to take the Chic circle, which, as I said, cuts out beautifully. I'm going to use these little ones here as well. And I'm going to use this label. So I'm going to keep these on here because that will be easiest to do. So let us, what should we do first? I think what we'll do first is we will choose our colours. So the colours that I've chosen to use today are the vintage gold in the satin. I've got the antique copper pearl card because I like that one. I've got I haven't got spring yellow. I've got clotted cream. Just a lovely cream colour, and it verges on yellow. And I just think that is a really pretty one. And then I'm going to put it onto an 8x8 card. So first of all, I'm going to cut some layers out. And the first layers that I'm going to cut out are using these two pieces of card. So that's antique copper and the clotted cream. I have to get that right. Now, let's get my cutting block in. So I'm going to put it on an 8x8 card. But my first piece is got to be positioning this one. So I'm going to say that this one is, let's see, I'm going to do it as 14 centimetres by 14 centimetres. And I'm just going to check with that first, make sure I'm happy with that size. I think I will be, but I do want to just check. I made this card, or a version of this card, for a sample for the TV, and it was one of my favourites. So that's the one that I chose to show you today. But yeah, so that's going to go into there. So this was 14 by 14. So then I'm going to take my antique copper, and this one will be 14.5 by 14.5, because that's going to be the layer behind it. Okay. So that's my first two layers. So that's going to go on there like that. And then I'm going to take antique copper again. And I want to do, clotted cream first, isn't it? Let's do that. So clotted cream. And that one is going to be 17 by 17. So a bit of a jump up, 17 by 17. And then just to trim that on the side with my clotted cream is going to be 17.5. Okay, so I'm leaving quite a wide border on this one. In all honesty, you could just put this into a 7x7 card. So that one is going to go on as my second layer, like that. Okay, so that's going to be my second layer. Okay, so then we are going to actually pop this together on the card and show you that it's got that big wide border, but that's all sort of in keeping, which I think looks really quite nice. So I can pop that to one side now, and I can cut out some of my pieces. So I'm going to take, for this one, I'm going to take my mirror card, satin card, I should say. But who knows what I've done with the dies, you know, hidden them under here. And I'm going to cut two lots of this. So I'm going to cut one out of here. So this is one out of my satin card. And I'll just run that through first. And you can see then how that comes out. I will, whilst I'm at it, run through this one for you so you can see this one as well. Not going to use it actually, but it would be nice for you to see. So I'll run those both through. Actually, whilst we're at it, I wanted these little flowers in as well. So let's put the little flowers in too. Make it worth my while. So that's just running all of those dies through. Not going to be using that one this time, just wanted to show you, but I am going to be using all of those. So let's just run that through. Okay, I'm going to take this one and I'm going to do something a little bit different with that one. So bear with me. I've also got some Distress ink in dried marigold. Just a little hint of a orange, which I think goes with this quite nicely. So let's take all those pieces off. You can see how beautifully they all cut out. Oh, some are stuck in, some aren't. So I need to release that one. And I think those have all come out, haven't they? So I'll just pop that onto there. So you can see already that this is a beautiful set. So you've already got your leaves in it, and you've got your flowers and everything. So that's how it cuts out. Just poke out all the little bits. So again, the whole idea is that with just one die, you could leave that just as it is. And in all honesty, I'm not going to be doing a great deal more to it. You could even just leave it literally as it is, but I will do just a little bit extra to it. So then we have got our little flowers. So let's just put them over there. Tiny little ones as well. And don't think I want anything else there. I'll tell you what I will do. I will take, oops, let's just pick them up properly. I will take my little circles. Now, did I lose the other dot? Probably. Here it is, hiding. That's the dots for my flowers there. So let's just take that off. Now, being a little extravagant here, because I'm going to use one of these scraps, and I'm going to take this piece. Now, I could cut out the whole lot and use it for something else, but for quickness, I'm not going to do that. I just want these flowers, really. So I'm going to tape that down onto a bit of a scrap of the Clotted cream card, okay, and run that through. And then I'm assembling all my little pieces here. So, okay. It is a beautiful die, isn't it? I can't decide which one. Oh, I'll show you this one in a second. I can't decide which one I like the best. When I first saw these, I thought these are lovely. So there is my cut, but I want to keep this into place because I want to do a little bit of colouring in between. So whilst that's still in place, I'm going to take my marigold, dried marigold, and I'm going to take a sponge dauber, and I'm going to go over the die, into starting off the usual way into the centre and circling that out to give a hint of a different colour behind. So as with all of the Distress inks, when you put them on to start off with, they will dry, so they'll be a bit darker to start off with than you think that they're going to be. And I wanted it to be as if it shows. And I thought that the Clotted cream gave a nice spring colour, but I liked mixing it with the antique copper for a change rather than the spring greens and things. So I'm just having to hold that in place, but there we are. So when I now take that off, you can see that I've got my flowers have got that little bit of a something different there, which I think gives a really nice effect. And when we put it all together, it's going to look lovely. So that is, I'm going to leave that to one side. That is my Chic circle. And whilst we've got it here, let's just show you the Chic square. So if we just take these pieces out, again, beautiful, delicate die. All these little bits, nearly done. And again, just if you were to put that into this piece, that would even look beautiful as it is. When I did one of my samples, hold on, I'm just holding it there. just about fits there. I did 2 of them. So I did one like that and then one twisted round and then little flowers all the way around it. These little flowers, but in coloured card and everything. So it's a beautiful set, which again, you hardly have to do anything to it at all. So I'm not going to use that one today, but we'll make a card out of it because it's too good to not do, isn't it? So let's scoop these things away here. And let's see if we've got everything together. Whoops, a daisy. So that's that. Got my flowers. Oh, we haven't done our sentiment. So with our sentiment, I'm going to use this from the tags, and I'm going to grab a small sentiment that I'm going to use here. So it doesn't really matter as long as take another scrap, as long as that will go in there, which it will. But first of all, I'm going to actually stamp that up. Oh, and I think we will use, what will we use? Well, we'll use the dried marigold, but probably not a great idea because I find that the distress ink, if I'm wanting to do it for sentiments, is not such a great idea, but we'll give it a go because it would be nice to have the same sort of colour. It's a bit too pale. You can't even see that, can you? No. Plan B for that. Plan B. Let's try a brown. So I've got pine cone instead. Oh gosh, I've got to take the lid off on it anyway. So the brown goes in with the theme of the antique copper then. So hopefully, try this one. That's better. That's better. So whilst I wait for that to dry just a little bit, I'm going to place that into position. I'm going to tape that there. Just going to make sure, as it's not quite dry, that I'm not going to go over the very centre with my tape, and then just run that through. And then we're nearly there, putting all the pieces together. So just so that this is what I wanted to do a little bit different for you, so that we can actually see this a little bit better. I'm going to take, that's my sentiment that's going to go on, but I'm going to take this die. Not sure if this piece is big enough. No. I'll take a piece of the scrap, and then I'm going to take a pencil and I'm going to draw round this die. This will give me a very slightly bigger pattern. Doesn't mean I've got to cut it out, but it just gives that a little bit, oops, keeping that in place, just gives that a little bit extra that we can use that die for. Grab a pair of scissors and then just trim around. So it does only cut out the one size, but that's not to say you can't take it a little bit extra. I'm just cutting around where I've drawn the shape of that die, and then that will give you a nice background there, using the same colours, the antique copper, as a little bit of a background for this die. Oops. Turn it around the other way. Have rush to do it, but you see what I mean. So anti-clog bottles. If you were with me on Sunday, you will see that we had the anti-clog bottles. And we just pop that onto there. Just gives that little background there so that you can, I should have cut that out in a bit better way. Pop that to one side, and we can pop these together as well. So the tags are lovely to put a sentiment on. They're sort of small enough and yet big enough if you can have such a thing. So I'm just going to use that. The anti-clog bottles are the new design, in as much as the plastic is really noticeably squeezier, that's not a word, than the ones that we had before. So I have to say I did find those other ones that we had before for my silly thumb quite troublesome to manoeuvre with the glue in. So for me, these are so much better. And because I do have trouble with my thumb, instead of pushing it like that, as you can see, I've got it in my hand like that. It feels quite comfortable to do that as well. And you just fill it up with, I've got craft artist glue, but any glue would be fine in there. So let's bring our card together. Top folding, as always. I'm going to pop my first layer on to here. Oops. And that will give us about another centimetre all the way around as a border. I do have to put foam onto here. It wouldn't be right if I didn't. And at the moment, I've run out of the proper foam. Thought it was going to be here today, and it's not. So subsequently, I've got to use my very deep foam, which I wouldn't normally use. So if you are using foam, I would say the 2mm is fine, but I've had to go for the really thick one. So we'll get some dimension with this. Oops, I'm just putting that round the edge. Even though I haven't got the foam that I would normally want, I'd still want to put foam on it because I still think that that looks far better. Oops. So, a little bit in the middle, just so it doesn't bend in the centre. And bit of glue onto here. Oops. There we go. And that is going to go into the centre of my card like that. So hopefully it's fairly straight. It's particularly high, although I must admit I quite like that actually. So I'm then going to take my beautiful, now this could be any way. I could have it round that way, I could have it at the top, I could have it at the bottom. Let's go that way. So because I've got my very fine nozzle there, I can use that now on all of these fine bits, which is really handy because I could spray glue it, but not everyone has spray glue. And I am very aware of that. So this really helps. So I am going to be particularly getting this so that it goes onto those bits there, because I want them to stay down, because I want to fill them in with those coloured pieces of petals that we did a little while ago. It just gives a little something. You can leave it with absolutely nothing, but I think it just adds to it. So which way were we going to put it? That way, weren't we? So that goes into the centre. Just press that on. And again, I think it's almost finished, isn't it? Like that, really. That is what the whole idea of this collection was all about, for the people that are sort of new to the game of being able to do this with such ease. So I'm going to put a little bit of glue into these spaces where my petals should be. And there and there. And then I'm going to pick these up. Let's see if we can pick them up like that. So let's just see which way round we've got it. That's these ones. So I'm just going to take them out. Oh, she says. And just slot them back in to the places that they were on here. And you can see that they fit in just where they went before. No moulding or anything like that. Then I've got the large one. Oops, turn over, mister. Like that. So it's the same same colour, but just with that added little bit of something in there, which I think looks rather nice. And then just bring in this one. Again, just paper piecing that back into place. But you could have left it without anything. You could cut them out on another scrap and have a completely different colour. So much that you can do there. You recall I saved these little tiny circles from the gold. So I'm now just going to put a little tiny bit of glue into the centre of where those flower pieces were, and pick up these pieces and just slot them back into where they were. Hopefully you can see that. Just slotting that back in to the centres, because I think that looks quite nice. Turn that one over. There you go. Okay, so now you can see that that has slotted in. Then I'm going to take my little flowers. Now again, if you wish, you could actually mould them, and like I usually do, which is just putting them onto a moulding mat, taking my moulding tool, and then I would just push into the centre of them. But you don't have to even do that. You could have them completely flat. And I'm just going to put them sort of randomly. And where I'm actually going to put them is on these corners here. So I'm just going to put different ones onto the corners, different sizes, different shapes. So I've got some up there. I'm going to go down here with some more. So there'll be a slightly different one on here. So that biggest one, and whoops, that one there. Stay when you're told. And then I won't go any further. I was going to put them on the other corners, but I don't think I will. What I will do is possibly I am going to get the little moulding thing. Just when you thought I wasn't going to. Just going to take those, because I've cut them out really. Now I shouldn't be pressing on here, but not to worry. I am going to mould those just a little tiny bit, and then I'm going to put a little bit of glue in a couple of places. Just to add some more flowers. And obviously they will give a little bit of a dimension because they are lifted up. But they don't have to. Then I'm going to grab my little sign, and that's going to go there. I think I've got a tiny piece of 2mm. I don't really want the huge one for that. And that's going to go just onto there like that, with two little, oh, wrong thing, two little flowers, so that I've used up all of the little flowers that I had just onto there. So there you go. Pretty Chic is pretty good, I reckon, and very simple to use. You can embellish more, but the idea around these was if you lost your mojo or just starting out, these were ideal for something to start off with, because just by cutting out 1 or 2 dies, you have got a card already done. Just need to change the sentiment and it's ready for anything, really. So, looks like you like it, so that's good. Let me just run through and recap what I used for on these particular ones. So the ones that I've used here was the Chic circle, which is the main one there. And then I embellished it with some of the Chic flowers. And I used the tag from the Chic tags for the sentiment, but I actually drew around the outside for that as well. You can even, another way of, let me just show you another way of doing that sentiment. So let's pretend, hold on, well not pretend, we're going to do, just cut out that again. So if we cut out the sentiment using the clotted cream, do that one first. I think it's nice to have the sentiments on a little something sometimes, rather than just completely flat on the card. So you can draw around it, or you can have a go at this method, which is cutting one of them out, and then I'm going to cut 2 of these darker ones, the background ones. So one like that, and 2 of the others. I'm not going to pop a sentiment on there for now because I'm not really showing you how to do stamping. Just wanted to show you how to do that. Actually, we won't use 2, we'll do 1. We can get away with it, I think, because all we're going to do is, I have to show you onto here. Oh. Going to cut this one in half, and then I'm going to pop a little bit of glue onto there and take our main sentiment and just offset it very slightly so that it is there. You really need to see that on white, don't you? There you go. It's there, but not there. And then I'm going to take this piece, the other half, and obviously I've not put glue at the very end, and I'm just going to offset it on that side. Now I do realise that I have now not got a full piece at the back here, but in general I think that it shows, it almost gives an illusion of it being there. So if you're not happy with cutting out, you can just cut out one at the back, chop it in half. You could even chop it lengthways, but I think it looks better from the short edge, I should say. So we could do it like that as well. Another way of using the tags. What I must do is not leave this here. So this fits in with a little pin like that. And it just needs to be sure that you have done that up tightly so that the pin inside goes all the way down the nozzle to stop that from clogging. But as I said, much better, much softer. I couldn't have done that with the other one. So that is much better. So they are available on the website as well. So there you go. That is our Chic collection. It didn't last long whilst it was on the TV. I'm not sure whether it's lasting long with you lovely folk, and I do appreciate you waiting until today for it, and I do hope that you were able to get it if that was something that you like. So we have got exciting weekend coming up because we've got Saturday, we've got the first workshop of the year with John himself on our Zoom. So we've got lots of people attending that day, and if they can't attend just at the last minute, don't worry about it because you will always have the video and the written and illustrated instructions by our lovely June for that as well. So that's coming up on Saturday. And for those who aren't there, or for those that are there then and later. I'll be back on Sunday morning, as usual, at 11 o'clock. So I do hope that you're able to join me then. You can see that that's not quite in the right place. It's better. Thank you. Take a photograph of that and pop that up for you. Thank you so much for joining me this evening. Have a lovely evening. Don't forget, John's on at 7 o'clock on his Facebook Live as well. So take care till then. Thank you. Bye.